Here it goes. For a higher level of a seeker, the journey is just an understanding. So you stand under, you stand under the entire knowledge received by the mind. So, what it means by stand under, so that you know what is going on deeper inside, not at the surface level. Take one example which makes it clear, and if we contemplate on this metaphor, we can reach to that state. The sun reflects on the ripple lakes, oceans, rivers, creating countless shifting reflections. Similarly, the consciousness reflects in constantly changing forms. That consciousness is reflecting on a thought, on an emotion and perception, giving the illusion of emotion of the consciousness. Sunlight doesn't move. Do you see that? That consciousness we are. That is what the Eastern wisdom says it. See the same sunlight in a different situation. Now the static reflection of the sun. What does it mean? There is a pot of water and the water is totally calm. And the sunlight is reflecting on the pot of water, reflecting in the solid forms like rocks in the mountains, giving the illusion of stability. So there is an illusion of stability, there is an illusion of motion. Sunlight, nothing happens. Same thing, the consciousness, nothing happens to that consciousness. And that consciousness is I am. We are. Just as the sun reflects on the pot shape, same light reflects on your shape, and I say you are David, you are Christina, and then you are Jerry, and you are Dennis. Look at it. Consciousness does not change. So I have a knowledge that you all are here with me. And I also reflect on this body shape. Consciousness, remember, just as the sun reflects with the pot shape, so we are the pot, different pot shape. Consciousness reflects shaped by reflecting objects form. Same consciousness reflects on an animal and I say, here is my pet. I don't want to extend further. Here is my honey. Don't feel bad. It's a fact. Consciousness is the same. So reflecting medium changes, and then I recognize here is my honey, here is my dog, and here is my house, and here is my mouse, and here is my monitor. The sun reflection. Now, what is the secret behind it? The reflection moves as the pot moves. Reflection moves as you moved just now, but the sun remains still. Same thing, the consciousness in us does not move at all. And that consciousness is I am. So the entire Eastern wisdom helps us to know and discover that we are the consciousness, that I am. One sun lighting up the world leads to various reflections. I just explained the ripples of the waves in the ocean, thoughts, feeling, and emotions in my head. So one emotion reflects, and I say, I'm very sensitive, touch me not. And still, my inner mind My mind has a sense of attachment which says, touch me and touch me not. So there is a conflict. There is a conflict in me. But both are being reflected. It is just a reflection. I'm sensitive, it is a reflection. I'm good, it is a reflection. I'm in peace, it is a reflection. Knowledge. Knowledge is very important. Knowledge of the self, that's what we covered last time. Let us go slowly and remember the metaphor. And remember the metaphor and find out of the four status that we talk about, that you are an individual, I am an individual, so we both are different. And we take it for granted. You are good and I'm bad, or I'm good and you are bad, etc. It's a long list. But it is the reflection is it. It's only a reflection. So this master gives, every master, every awakened master uses this metaphor. And those who are doing hatha yoga, they do not they, they do not dare to enter into this journey of the Eastern wisdom. So there is an infinite space that is pure consciousness. It is all pervading, it is omniscient, it is eternal, it is truth. It does not change, cannot be objectified, and it cannot become the doer, and it cannot become the experiencer. It is the basis, the fundamental basis of the entire existence. And then enclosed space is that this same infinite consciousness is known as the real self at the individual level. They both are the same, but we see them differently. Why we see them differently? Because of reflections. I just explained you the example of the sun. We see them differently, that you are different from me. At what level you are different from me? At the level of physical, gender, age, color, shape, etc. It's a long list. Nationality. But they are surface. They are the surface level. It doesn't make any difference. So the real self and the infinite reals, that pure consciousness is actually the one. But then where comes the illusion? I just gave you the illusion of motion, illusion of stability. And so there comes. Now in that pot space, the water is there. We say it's a water space, it's a tea space. Oh, it's a teapot. There's a pot space. But I say it's a teapot, it's a tumbler, and long list. So whatever the water we put, that becomes a reflecting medium, and I'm in stress and I'm into anxiety, I'm very happy. I celebrated Thanksgiving. Randy was just saying that, it was a great shock absorber. I heard it. One woman, I gave a private lesson, so she sends that you send me the videos and the audio file. So I sent her the audio file and the video file on Wednesday. And I said, you must listen to this. I told you about that woman, that she has been always in stress. She invites a lot of people on Thanksgiving Day and she goes into this. Like, you must listen to this before you celebrate Thanksgiving. And she listened to it after Thanksgiving. So what should I say? So I'm just engaged in so many things. So that is what the water space is. But the same way, in that water space, what is that water space? You are my honey, you are my husband, you are my enemy, you are my friend. They say, here is my house, here is my car. In that pot space, the water space, the entire world is also reflected. So whatever is the reflection is false. I just told you. Sun, illusion of motion, illusion of stability, but we are, so the last two metaphors out of the four, if we prove it false, first by reasoning and then by an experience, yes, it is an experience. So knowledge plus experience goes together, is known as the revelation, is known as the awakening, is known as the awakening. I gave you an example last time. Do you still remember? Body, BSC, body alcoholic content, and DUI, driving under the influence. So, mental ignorance content, I said. Mental false assumption content. Mental illusion of motion, illusion of. Now, I'm not saying anything why you are annoyed. You see? Illusion of motion and illusion of. Unnecessary. We are getting into stress unnecessary. It is not at all required. And living under the influence of ignorance. So when I live under the influence of the ignorance and mental ignorance content is high, then we have out of the four, the last two, we live into the last two. What is the last two? The water in the pot. The water means my thought, my feeling, my emotions. And from that, I project another reflection about this world. This world is crazy. No, you are crazy. World is not crazy. So we have understood, I'm not, now understand very important point. This master is taking us to another deeper journey. And you have to live into that all the time. Let us see. Let us listening by learning. Master says, listening by learning first, learning by listening, contemplation, reflection, and the practice. Practice is done only by those seekers who has yet to purify the mind, whose mind is full of impurities. It doesn't mean that, no, we should not brag ourselves, we should not have an ego. After learning, when we contemplate and reflect and practice, if it is required, knowledge is revealed. Pay attention. Knowledge is revealed. Now, why I say the knowledge is revealed? Question this. Why I say knowledge is revealed? No knowledge is made, produced, but it is always discovered and revealed. No knowledge. Addition invented or discovered the bulb, whatever the word you want to use. What it means. Did he make the knowledge or did he make the bulb? You have to contemplate and reflect. I know, for example, I know Dennis. So did I discover here is Dennis, or did I make the knowledge so that I prove that here is a Dennis? Knowledge cannot be made. Knowledge is always discovered. Knowledge is always revealed. Addition focused on the electricity, and ultimately the knowledge was not made, knowledge was revealed. Did you hear about Madame Curie, who invented radium? He stressed too much, he focused on too much, and then she said that she went into dream. and the knowledge was revealed. Knowledge is not made, it cannot be produced, it is always revealed. So if the knowledge of the self is revealed, we are not saying anything wrong. We are not saying anything like, what we say, we're not saying anything different. But there is a difference. Knowledge of the science and the knowledge of the self. So now question comes, does the knowledge of the bulb was already there or he created the knowledge? You cannot create the knowledge. You cannot. No one can create the knowledge. Science discovered digestive system, circulatory system. It was pre-existent. Are you clear? It already existed. Air already existed. The science understood the property, physical, chemical properties of the air, physical properties of the space, physical and chemical properties of the fire, and long list. Knowledge cannot be made. Knowledge cannot be produced by my mind. In the mind, the knowledge is revealed. Don't lose attention. We are here to discover who am I. That is our goal. So knowledge of the self. So people, I don't believe there is a real self. You are crazy. I don't believe. So you use the word I. Do you know who is this I? You are using I and you are saying I don't believe. Are you the body? Can you prove it? Body is an instrument, mind is an instrument, intellect is an instrument, ego is an instrument. I don't believe. I don't believe that I don't exist. It's a false statement. Because you proved your existence by saying that I do not exist. You said it. So that is why our master says it demands a lot of contemplation and reflection to reach to. And once that knowledge is revealed, once the bulb is discovered by the Edison, it is done. Until then, we need to work on it. So now here is a little difference. One is the objective knowledge and the other is subjective knowledge. One is the self-knowledge and other is the others' knowledge. I know you all. Do I know myself? That is subjective knowledge. The rest is objective knowledge. So how? So now the master says, differentiate this. Be very clear. One is objective and other is subjective knowledge. If I want to know about who am I, one is dependent and other is independent. What it means? I know you. How can I say? I'm dependent on my eyes, I'm dependent on my mind, I'm dependent on the society. But to know I am independent. Whether my mind says I am or my mind does not say I am, I still exist. I don't need mind. It is just a pure awareness. Are you clear? I'm going step by step slowly. The one is knowledge of the parts and other is the knowledge of the whole. The self-knowledge is the knowledge of the whole and the objective knowledge is always of the parts. Knowledge of the parts is objective, dependent and separate from us. Knowledge of the self is subjective, independent and whole. That is why we say self-realization. Knowledge is revealed, knowledge is not made. So when a knowledge is revealed, it is known as a realization. It is known as the self-realization. Bulb realization, we don't use the word. But fact is that knowledge of the bulb is revealed, knowledge of the electricity is revealed, it was pre-existing. No, we should give credit to those Edison and Einstein and no doubt, and other scientists. But we should be very clear. Knowledge is revealed. The knowledge of object is revealed. You cannot say it is self-realization. When the knowledge of the self is revealed, that is why you say it is a self-realization. Be very clear. Oh, this master takes us to a journey. In one of his verses, he says, thought, feeling, emotions, which gives us the knowledge, representing this body, is a teacher. He gives you, so that thought, that feeling, that emotions, that knowledge, you constantly and consistently learn, contemplate, and reflect. Instead of a seeker, you become a teacher. Teacher first to yourself, and then you start living, thinking, and behaving and acting in the world based on your self knowledge. Come back. So the knowledge is not made. You have to be very clear. 100% clear. Knowledge cannot be made, knowledge cannot be produced, knowledge is always revealed. Science knows pre-existing knowledge of the nature, natural phenomena, and the stars and the Mars. Because mind is dominated by the objective information, and every objective information has a likes and dislikes, jealousy and a hatred. So we need to purify the mind to reveal the knowledge of the self. I'm systematic. I'm going in a systematic way because the next verse is so deep and complex. I have to lay a foundation. So why purity of the mind? How purity of the mind? By discernment, dispassion are required. How the discernment is applied? By logic, by reasoning on the path of the self-discovery. We don't say just believe, there is a real self. Follow this. So purity of the mind. Having an uncluttered mind allows one to think and reason without distortion and biases. I should become a scientist of the self. It enables clear discernment and analysis. Impure thoughts can cloud logic and leads to flawed conclusions. Yeah, flawed conclusion. I don't believe in the real self. The why the hell you are using I? Remove that I and express yourself. No, no, I am the body. How can you prove that you are the body? 5 years old, 10 years old, 20 years old now. The body has constantly changing. Did that I inside you change? Did Dennis become David? No, not at all. I remained I am since my childhood. I want to know who is this I, why you are using this I. See that? So in a flawed, when we have, so discernment is required, the ability to distinguish the false from the real, wisdom from the folly. The discernment sharpens our capacity for logic and reasoning. It enables me to separate rational thought from the irrational assumptions. Oh, I'm the body and the mind. I'm in stress. It is purely an irrational assumption. I'm suffering. It is irrational assumption. You cannot suffer. How the sunlight can suffer? Whether the sunlight falls on the ocean, the ripples of the waves are there. When the sunlight falls on the part of the water, or even the sunlight falls on the muddy water, sunlight does not suffer. It is all about the irrational assumption that I am suffering. I am not worthy of suffering. There's a clear message of the master. But if you say that you are suffering, then you are a great guy because you are suffering. So discernment results into dispassion. Non-seeker does not realize the importance of discernment and dispassion, does not realize that consistent listening and learning will help me to reach to a state of self-revelation. Non-seeker is not exposed to this journey of Eastern wisdom. Non-seeker focuses on the outer life too much. I'm very busy in the world. Very busy. Yes, because you are busy, the next stage is obviously anxiety and duality and a conflict because you are very busy in your life. And for what you are busy? You are busy in your objective world. Nothing in the objective world, whether it's a person, situation, or relations, has a property of peace and happiness. That's why you are busy. So non-seeker cannot realize this importance. Non-seeker does not realize because I identify myself with the ego. I strongly identify myself with my personality, with my desires, with my aversion, with my attachment, with my duality. The non-seeker has a lack of self-reflection. Non-seeker has a fear of unknown. So I have to get rid of all these factors to become a seeker to start the real journey. So once I remove all these factors, I know I can use now the proper use of logic on this journey of the self-discovery. Then last week I covered what is knowledge of an object in the self-knowledge. There is a difference. I have already made a difference in a different way. Knowledge about historical event, knowledge about the science concept, information about the places and people and the ideas, knowledge about the skill systems and processes. These are objective knowledge. I want to know who am I. From where we have to start the journey. Oh, I have already started, almost 30 minutes at the one. No, understanding the components of one's subjective experience. What is my experience? How do I experience myself? So I have a thought, I have an emotion, I have a perception. See? Now I'm purely logical. So I want to know myself. So I'm using the thought, emotions, perception. Very good. So I have to use these thought, emotions, and perceptions to reach very closer to the real I. Knowing the difference, now I know the difference between what is permanent self and what is temporary. What is my false I and what is the real I? What are the reflections in the thought, feeling, and emotions belong to, it gives you a false assumption of motion of movement in the ocean. I just explained you motion of stability. No, the illusion of stability, illusion of the shape and the size. No, these are only reflections. Yes. There must be a deeper insight into the nature of the consciousness. Then it's content. Are you getting it? What are the contents of the consciousness? Thoughts, emotions, perceptions, feeling, I, you, likes, dislikes, duality, conflict. When I recognize it, these are the contents of the consciousness. These are not the consciousness. It's all. In the presence of the light, I see the ripples, the illusion of movement in the ocean, illusion of stability, illusion of forms in the names, illusion of color. Light is the same. Nothing happens to the light. So I have to take my mind logically first where there is no change takes place. How? Again by logic. Where does the knowledge of object takes place? And once you stay with that, you know the answer of this. Where does the knowledge of the object takes place? I know the mouse. Does the knowledge takes place in the mouse or here in the consciousness? I know Dennis. Does the knowledge takes place in the Dennis or here? It is here. That is why I say I know Dennis. I know mouse. I know monitor. I know mouse. I know camera. Do you see that? See that? I, all the time. That I cannot be present in the Dennis or in David or in mouse, in monitor, in movie. That is the sunlight. That is the sunlight. That never changes. That never changes. So simple to answer that. The object does not become conscious of itself. Mouse cannot become conscious of itself. It is inert. It does not know itself and it does not know others. Am I right? A chair does not know itself as a chair. Only a conscious being can know the chair as an object. The chair does not have its own subjectivity. A tree may grow, flower, and die, but it does not have an inner knowledge or awareness of itself being a tree. Only an observing subject can know that it is a tree. It's a tree. We have a lot of oranges tree in Arizona. While driving, I see a lot of orange. We have pomegranate, And I went to David and Jerry's house. A rock lies there as an object, but has no capacity to know itself. The rock does not think, I am a rock. That is why I said, so I have to pick up that consciousness, starting with the thought, feeling, emotion, perceptions. There's the likes and I keep the likes and dislikes. I keep the hatred and jealousy in my mind. Can it help me? No. That is the impurity of the mind. Like the mind, like the car, mind functions but cannot refer back to itself as a subject. It has no inner feeling of I-ness or the self-awareness. Car. Only the driver is conscious subject who can know the car. I'm giving a lot of reasoning, a lot of them. An atom may move and interact, has no sentience or inner intelligence to know itself. Only a conscious entity, I am, as a scientist, could study and know about that. Why I'm giving these examples? So I have to find out differentiation between the object and the subject. The moment I differentiate between the object and the subject, what happens? My mind merges with that subject. And that is known as the objectless state. And that objectless state is known as the mindfulness. It is always there. Knowledge of the car that arises within the knowing subject. Knowledge of the mouse that takes place in aware observer. Knowledge of the tree that happens through the sentience knower. Knowledge of the rock that occurs within the perceiving subject. So whether you say knowing subject, what is this? Consciousness. Aware observer, what is this? Consciousness. Sentience observer, sentience knower, what is this? Consciousness. Perceiving subject, what is this? Consciousness. Who am I? I'm consciousness. Consistent. It demands a lot of contemplation. So once then we are settled into that knowledge. So where the fallacy lies, where the false assumption lies. Last time I covered briefly knowledge of home or the home of knowledge. Just become aware. I know Dennis, so it's a knowledge of the Dennis or Dennis of knowledge. Instant awareness is required. And once you are aware of it, you are already there. Why? We have to answer that. Because if we don't answer, then we carry forward the false assumption and the illusion and the wrong notions. I know X, X is crazy. So, first, I know the X and then the X is crazy. I further extend the illusion, false notion, and that is how I live my life. It is wrong to say the knowledge of home. Why? When I say knowledge of the home, it means the knowledge belongs to the home, not to me. How simple it is. But because the mind is constantly bombarded by the false notion and assumptions that we have been heavily conditioned since our childhood by the society, by the religion, by the people. This mind cannot go into the deeper aspect of this. It's a knowledge of the home of knowledge. We cannot find out, it is misleading and it is obscuring the truth. After all, I have to find out where I am. So where I am, where the knowledge is taking place. The knowledge of home means the knowledge is taking place in the home, not in me. First, and then my home is so beautiful. My home is bigger than you. You know, likes and dislikes, guys. And it perpetuates the illusion. That is objective thing. So we have to remove the false notion that knowledge happens in the object. The fact is that objects are known through the faculty of consciousness. Now I'm changing the statement. Did you get it? Knowledge of the home means the knowledge as if happens in the home. Answer is wrong. Home of knowledge. Fact that home is known through the faculty of consciousness. Dennis is known through the faculty of consciousness. See that? But when I don't follow, when I am not aware of that, then my focus is on the objective world. And when the focus is on the objective world, then I see I told you in the beginning, illusion of motion. So I see the sun is moving, illusion of stability, illusion of names and the forms. It confuses the content of knowledge with the ground in which the knowledge arises. Knowledge always arises in the consciousness. It gives rise to false notion that the objects are self-aware or sentient entities when they are inert and depend on the consciousness. Knowledge of the home arising within the subject, and I'm the subject. Knowledge of the Dennis is happening here. Knowledge of Samir is happening here. Knowledge of the computer is happening here. That is the beauty. That is the beauty of the Eastern wisdom. We have yet to touch the cream of the Eastern wisdom, and we are moving through. So it means everything is happening here, but here is one consciousness. So there are no many different knowledges. If I use the word knowledges, there is only one knowledge. That is knowledge of the consciousness. Because every knowledge is taking place in the consciousness. It's not knowledge of the Dennis, knowledge of the David, knowledge of the Jerry. It's only one knowledge that is taking place inside me. And who is this? Pure consciousness. I am pure consciousness. Object of knowledge and subject of knowledge. That is the topic I'm picking up. The object is what is known. And what is subject? Knower. That is the difference. We reach to climax. After understanding and putting all the logic systematically, we have reached anything that I know belongs to the object. And the one who knows is the knower, is the seer, is the perceiver, is the observer, is the witness consciousness. With metaphor of the sun, in the presence of the light, I know ripples on the ocean. I know my monitor is stable, has a different shape. I know you all. In the presence of the consciousness, I know everything. Subject is the knower. Knower and the known. My master always used to give an example. Look at this donkey. In India, instead of ass, we say donkey. So, do you know donkey? My master used to say, yes, but you are not donkey. How come? Knower and the known are always different. Whatever I know is always different from me. Why? It is object. What about me? I'm subject. Last thing, very important. You have to listen to it again and again and contemplate. I know computer, I know camera, I know you all, I know the light, I know the I is common factor. There is only one knower. So that consciousness knows many different objects in the world, but that knower is the same. That knower is I am. I know stress. Stress is objective. And stress is different from me. Why? Because it is object. That I never goes into the stress. That is consciousness, that light. Even if I start crying and jumping, nothing happens to this light. Do you see that? Nothing happens. Light says, okay, nothing happens to the space. I may jump, I may fight, I may hug, nothing happens to that consciousness. That consciousness is I am. Now that I am means that consciousness, we are only one consciousness. Knowledge of the Dennis seems different from the knowledge of the David, but the consciousness in which this knowledge appears is the same. Did you get it? Knowledge of the David, knowledge of the Jerry, definitely it is different. We don't argue there. We say, yes, you are right. But the consciousness in which the knowledge appears is the same. That consciousness is I am. That consciousness is I am. Who am I? I'm pure consciousness of the nature of all pervading truth, never changing identity, subjective, does never becomes the doer. Does the light says that, I am a knower of the ripples of the waves? No. It does not become a doer and the experiencer. So that consciousness is beyond the doership. So when it's beyond the doership, there is no ego, because ego has to be a doer. Where does the knowledge of the object takes place? In me, not outside. That is, what is that me? That me is consciousness. What is that consciousness? Is the subject. What is that subject? Is the knower. Knower is always different from the known. What is the known? Known is the objective word. I create an illusion that this objective word is me and mine. I say me and mine. I say my home. For the sake of convenience, I must use it. But internally, I'm aware this is just for the sake of convenience, not for the sake of reality. And then I live into that consciousness that is known as the revelation, which results into self-realization. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed. Eyes are objects, my friend. Someone inside you is a knower who knows. Eyes were open and eyes are closed. Ripples of the waves and the stable pot full of water. I'm just correlating, even so-called the practice. It is not even a practice, but still I'm correlating to give you a feel so that you can contemplate and reflect. Body is comfortable. Pay attention to, logically pay attention, contemplate and reflect what I said. Don't believe. Body is comfortable. Body is object. Body is known. Yes, body is known. I can see that body is known. So I'm aware. In that field of awareness, there is a knower and there is an object. What is that object? That object is body. That object is also comfortable. Now I'm going into the feeling part, emotions part. Oh, yes, that is what I wanted to say. If you are a great seeker, you have the same question. And you know the answer. Oh, that being comfortable is an experience. That experience is taking place in the consciousness. That experience is object, which is known, which is separate, which is different. Consciousness is independent. You have to be sure. How you can be sure? By removing the impurities of the mind. By removing the impurities of the mind, yes. Don't allow your mind to accept any thought that I pass on to you now and today until you examine on the basis of knowledge of home and home of knowledge, knowledge of Dennis or Dennis of knowledge. When you say dance of knowledge, your mind returns to yourself, to the subject. You are there. You are there. You're not practicing anything. What a great adventure this master takes us to. Sometimes I say it is an adventure into a consciousness. That is what the meditation and mindfulness is. Be carefree. Are you alert and attentive? You have a power of discernment. Oh, you are talking of alertness of the mind. Mind is object. Alertness is also object. Where it is happening in the consciousness. But the consciousness remains untouched. That level of extraordinary awareness is required to reveal the knowledge. Knowledge is not made of. I'm not passing anything that is made of. You just go to the same process you have heard thousands of times, being carefree. What I said the same thing from the very beginning. What I used to say, look at the traffic. You are standing across. Standing across means you are separate, independent, whole from the entire traffic on the road and the traffic of the road in the mind in terms of the thought, feelings, sensations. Did you understand that? Every master in the Eastern wisdom gives you the last point in every session. It all depends on you. You are a seeker, you'll get it. From the very beginning, I gave many examples, many metaphors. The birds flying in the sky. My focus is on the object. What is that bird? My focus is on the thought, feeling, emotions, stress, anxiety, duality, conflict. But but they are the content of the space. And I'm the space, I'm the consciousness. That is what is the meaning of being carefree. I believe you all are getting it. So so there is a natural smile and a calmness. Oh my God, this is what I am. And the mind returns with another thought, another feeling, another perception. What should I do? Nothing to be done. Discernment and dispassion. So I logically see, oh, this is objecting, this is the subject, okay, this is the false. So once I see the object, what I know is different from me, that is object. When and where, here and now. No, but how to, no, don't ask how to do it. How to separate the space from the birds flying? How to separate yourself from the house which you say my home? But yes, if that question rises in your mind, obviously it is because of the impurity. I've already discussed. What else we need? Being comfortable and you are alert. Being, that being is consciousness. And comfortable is object. Comfortable is a content of that being. And then I say, being carefree. Being is consciousness, and carefree is the content of consciousness. Then I extended being carefree means standing across a road, watching the traffic. You are standing across a road. Who is? The body and the mind. That is also an object. Thoughts are also an object. Traffic is also an object. See that being carefree. I think I have explained being comfortable and being carefree in hundreds of ways, just to point out the reality. No doubt it goes deep inside your head. You reflect on it and you are consistent in your practice. You reach to that state. Being comfortable, being carefree. And now see what I'm using, pay attention and contemplate on that. Being aware. If you find they are synonym, you are there. We don't need so many steps in meditation. We need a lot of steps in meditation if we are a non-seeker. Being comfortable. Now it will make a sense if I stress on being comfortable. Being carefree. Being aware. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand mind. Right hand. Bring your awareness on the right hand. Bring your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. If you have any question that popped up in your mind, we can share. So how are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. Some mind was absorbed, was calm. Uh, so one question I was having, like that, you are saying that like a tree is it's living, but a tree is living, but it doesn't know himself. So as any animal. So the living is different from the consciousness.
Sure. Living is a manifestation, life is a manifestation of consciousness. For just for a moment, remove the I, life still exists. Life with the body and the mind still exists. So the consciousness, manifestation of that consciousness, highest manifestation is the mind and intellect. Second level of manifestation is the life, sentiency, what we say. Third level of manifestation is the body. Fourth level is the matter. They are the manifestation. They are not the consciousness. We are attached to the life, and that's why we say, oh, I'm dying. Body is dying. You are not dying. How are you doing?
Good morning. Thank you. Yeah, very profound, just a great um, lesson for us to be left with about the reflection on knowledge and its relationship with consciousness. And so, thank you for that. My practice or my meditation was just very deep and calm and peaceful. It was just very wonderful.
Beautiful. That's wonderful. Consistent contemplation and reflection instantly takes you there. How are you, Brandy?
Good, thank you. I think the holidays are a great opportunity for the lesson that you gave today. I thought
Okay.
about a phrase that you used to say a lot: days after days, months after month, weeks after weeks, months after months, years after years. And the objects change, kind of don't change, this existence just keeps going, but the consciousness stays the same. And it's really
Yeah.
easy for me to see that, like,
Yeah.
right now. So
It's a
thank you.
beautiful reflection. You see, everything is changes everywhere in our relationship, our aging process. Every day we have hundreds of feeling, thoughts, and emotions, but that consciousness does not change. So these are all the contents of the consciousness. Container does not change. Very good. How are you, Jerry?
Good, thank you. The mind was completely absorbed. It's like consciousness doesn't need the eyes to see clearly, doesn't
Yep.
need the ears,
Yep.
doesn't make up stories. Consciousness is pure, so
Yep.
it sees and knows everything as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. That's why I gave a simile example of the sunlight. Just a rough example. Similes metaphors cannot be equated completely. Sun constantly changes. So you are right. The nothing changes in that consciousness. And that is why we say the real self is eternal. It is beyond the past, present, and the future. And we are that consciousness. It is beautiful, beautiful way to put it. And how are you, Dennis?
Thank you. I have been since the last Saturday contemplating on the knowledge of chair versus the chair of knowledge, and
Yeah.
also since you touched this topic today, I just wanted to explain how I understood it, and please let me know if that is any close to the truth. So when we say that the knowledge of chair, it implies that this chair has independent existence and exists independently of the one who knows this chair. But the existence of the chair depends on the one who sees it and who knows it. If the chair does not exist, then there is no one to see the chair. I mean, the chair does not exist if there is no one to see the chair.
Little modification.
Okay.
If I is not there, their consciousness is not there, so knowledge of the chair is also not there. Whether the chair exists or not, it depends on that consciousness.
Yes, it depends on the one who experiences it, and ultimately on the consciousness that is beyond the one who experiences and who sees
Yes,
it.
yes, yes.
So first there is a knowledge of the chair, and then there is a chair, not vice versa.
And then the chair of knowledge. Because mind is misleading me that as if chair has a property of consciousness. That needs to. Chair does not have anything that is objective cannot have a property of consciousness. So then where the consciousness is? The one who knows it. And who knows it? I. Then who is this I? I'm consciousness.
But if we are talking about the other person, that has a property of consciousness, and we still see it as a, well, let's say a dentist of knowledge, but in this case,
I know you asked this question. Do you see me?
I see your body, your image.
Your image. So is that image consciousness?
No.
So you have a false conception. The image that you see is a consciousness. And from there you have a false conclusion that I see the conscious entity. You don't see the consciousness.
I see
Whatever
only.
you see is object. Whatever you see is object. Consciousness cannot be objectified. Yes, it's a great question and a good discussion. Consciousness cannot be objectified. I only see you as an image and an object. It's a body-mind complex. You see? Contemplate and reflect. Then what is left? Unconsciousness. Very good. That's a good part. How are you, Christina?
Thank
Where
you.
modern psychology stands. You know, you also have a master's in psychology.
There's a profound simplicity that came today to me around being a seeker. I was thinking of it as a doer, I think, but really it's being, and then the revealing of, and it just something about that feels very simplistic and profound.
That is what this master does it. So once we continue and we reach to that state, again, this is the false assumption that I will reach to this state. I'm already there. But that is how we have to use the language. Beautiful, profound. And you want to say something more? Yes, how are you, Terry?
I appreciated what Dennis was saying, because whenever you reverse the of statement, the knowledge of chair
and chair of knowledge.
chair of knowledge makes no sense to me.
It only makes a sense.
No, to me, chair of knowledge. I don't get that. It's your knowledge of the chair. The chair has no knowledge.
So it means the chair has a property of knowledge.
Which
So
it
it
does
means the
not.
chair is conscious. It
Right,
means that
and it's not, so it makes no sense to me. Every time, and I listen to it, I listen to the lesson over and over, and it still makes no sense to me when that discussion comes up.
today
But
I gave an answer to that question in detail.
yeah, but
Knowledge of mouse means knowledge belongs to the mouse. Knowledge of the chair means knowledge belongs to the chair.
I don't. I guess I don't. I don't hear it that way.
Oh, you didn't hear. Now you got it? Knowledge of the chair means knowledge belongs to the mouse. Knowledge belongs to the chair. Knowledge belongs to the home. Knowledge of the home. But that is not a fact. That is
Yeah,
false.
but it doesn't. Right.
You got it. Yes, you got it.
All right. So I can forget this of thing. That's
No,
just
I spoke this many a times. That is what the impurity of the mind is.
that's just that one little 2 letters is really hanging me up. And it's just so
Knowledge of the body is not there. It's the body of knowledge.
oh no, that's a pun. That's even
The
too
meditation is always a fun, my friend.
oh,
Meditation is not a serious business.
no, a pun. Body of knowledge.
Yes, body.
A thing that we say.
Yes, you got it.
That's even crazier.
That is all. Thank you. We'll meet
Well,
again.
I got to
Thank
worry.
you, sir. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.
Namaste.